In today's video, I'm going to walk through what I consider to be one of the most essential openings to know in checkers. It's called the Bristol Cross. It's essential because of the number of transitions that can lead into it, and if you're not familiar with some of the key moves, it can become very frustrating. That's why I think it's important for all classes of players to have an understanding of it. There are many variations within the Bristol Cross, but the one I'm going to show today is the popular and modern attack. So here we go, the Bristol Cross. As I mentioned, there are a number of transpositions into the Bristol Cross, but this is probably the most popular way to begin the game. And now with White's best move is here, setting the trap if red falls into it, and as I mentioned in a previous video, this natural move loses as white moves here next, red captures, white goes here, the 2 for 2, and then the triple jump for white to win the game. So this is no good. The best move for red is here next. Now white has a couple different options. It can move into the center square, which is good, or it can move here, which is what I think is the more popular response, and I also think it's best as well. So after white goes there, red can now safely move onto this square here as that threat of the 2 for 2 and triple is no longer there. Now white is going to move into this square to attack this piece right here. Now, sure, red can go here, or even here, and take a double jump next, but that's actually weak as white can jump back into the center, and then red really has to muster up some strong defense even to draw the game. So instead, red is going to cover up with this piece. This is no good as white can reply here, and it's a strong game for white. So after red goes here, white moves here next. Now, I think this is the best move because it's further going to cramp red's double corner, and red's going to allow that right now by moving here next. So white furthers the cramp by moving here. Now it's time for red to release that cramp, and it does that by moving here next and allowing the exchange. Now white's actually a little cramped, but it's going to break that up by moving here. Red jumps here, white captures, red jumps on the side, and now white has dominated the center of the board at this point. These next moves for red are very critical as they create a tempo, and it's a drawing tempo as you'll see. So it starts by moving here. White is going to move up from its back row here. Now red is going to go here. Now white can take the 2 for 2 if it wants. That's also a good draw. But capturing this square, I think, is even a little bit better. So it's going to exchange. And now red is going to march towards the king row, but is cut off as white will exchange the piece here. So now red has some work to do. These next few moves are very critical for red, and this is really where a lot of players get tripped up. Red goes here next. Now white is going to further dominate the center of the board. And now this key move for red, it exchanges this piece off. And now it's going to be a little bit of cat and mouse. White is going to delay anything from happening. And now red is forced to move into this square. If it moves here, white just takes the 2 for 1 double jump. So instead it moves here. And now white further delays by moving here. Now you may be thinking, wow, red is really doomed. What can red do? It has to give up a piece no matter what in this position. And it does, but it can still draw the game. So red starts by moving here. Now white is up a piece. Now red is going to move here, really restricting these 5 pieces on the board for white. It can't move here, it can't move here, allowing the double jumps. So instead, white goes towards the king. Now red is going to move here next with the threat of pitching this piece here and taking the double jump. So white doesn't want to allow that. So instead, white will pitch a piece back to prevent that from happening, gaining a tempo itself with the king. Now the march is on. Red goes here next, again, moving towards the king row. White is going to follow. Red is going to inch closer to the king row. And now white is going to press this piece here, forcing red into this square. Now, this is where a really pretty trap comes into play. The game is a draw at this point anyways. If white continues to press up here, the red piece is going to go here, and again, it's an easy draw. So instead, white does a very clever pitch, and it moves here next, giving red a double jump and the king. Now, white takes the king here, and then red is forced to capture. And now the triple jump for white, but again, red has that extra move on the board. It goes here, and really, there's nothing more white can do, and that is the draw game. So let's take a look at it from the other side of the board. All right, let's take a look at the Bristol Cross, but from red's perspective this time. So we'll begin the opening. And again, this move is so natural, but it loses. White goes here next, and then the 2 for 2 and the triples. So it's natural, and tempting as this move may be, do not move it at this point in the game. Instead, this is the drawing move. It goes here, covers up. Now it's important to make that move as it's now safe. There's no threat of that trap anymore. Now the cover up, as I mentioned, this being the strongest move for white. Cover up here, cramping the position, but releasing that cramp. And this is a very common landing as well, I should say. Now starting the tempo. And again, white can take the 2 for 2 here, but I consider this to be a little bit stronger. More tempo-based moves. And now the key drawing moves for red here. Starting with this move. And now this move. Now the cat and mouse. Again, red cannot go here. It must go here. And again, seeing it from this perspective now probably even looks even more hopeless. But red has a saving drawing move by going here. White jumps. Red goes here now, again, restricting white's position completely. It just has the king, the piece to move towards the king to go here. And now red goes here again with the threat of moving here next and getting the double jump. So instead, white stops that threat. Moves here. Getting a king. Red marching towards the king row. As such, pressing the piece, forcing it to move to this square here, and now that pretty trap. Again, it's just a drawing trap, but it's still nice, and it cleans up the board very, very quickly. And that's here. Red takes the double jump. White moves here next. Red's forced to capture. and then the triple jump, and again, the saving waiting move for red here to draw the game. So that's one of the many variations within the Bristol Cross opening, and I do recommend extra attention is spent on it because of how frequently it can show up in play. I'll continue showing modern and popular lines of play within certain openings, so please stay tuned. Thanks, as always, for watching.